Good Thursday morning, and thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet, voice you know with the news you trust studio, sponsored by Grain Equipment Company, where innovation meets execution. I'm Dusty Sonnenberg. Well, winter weather has definitely arrived all around the Buckeye State. Strong winds yesterday did not die down overnight. They make those outside temperatures feel much colder than the barn thermometer reads. Right now, 18 degrees on that barn thermometer, but it feels a whole lot colder with the wind chill. Be sure to stay safe if you're working outside today. This quick calendar reminder, today is the annual meeting for the Ohio Corn and Wheat Growers Association. Now, this is a virtual meeting. You can still register for it. Simply go on Facebook and go to Ohio Corn and Wheat. Click on the link, and you will be all set. Again, that meeting starts at 9 o'clock this morning. Let's check in now on our weekly update from the Ohio Soybean Council. I'm visiting today with Steve Reinhardt. Steve currently serving as chairman of the United Soybean Board. And Steve, you've been doing quite a bit of traveling in your term as chairman, but most recently you had a chance to go to China. Tell us a little bit about what that trip was for and who all was involved.
Sure. So we went to China to the big Chinese International Import Exposition, and it's a huge show where if anybody wants to import things into China, they can come and display what they have to offer. And USDA had a booth at the exhibit, and then across the aisle from USDA, we had the USEC booth, which is the United States Soybean Export Council. And while we were there, we got to meet with the Louis Dreyfus, Bunge, Cargill folks, as well as some of our smaller buyers that we sell into as well.
Who organizes the program over there?
Sure. So this was a multi-cooperator exercise that we went on, and it was organized by Jim Sutter and the USEC staff through the soybean collaboration that we have there. And but we had different growers. We had the Cotton Council, of course, American Soybean Association was with us as well, but even pistachios, the Wheat Association, and then even representatives from FAS and USDA. So, and more. We had 14 of us all together. And it was just a group effort to show that, the United States was interested in still working with China. That's still our biggest market for soybeans, and we want to continue to make sure that they know that we're interested in that cooperative arrangement.
My guest again today, Steve Reinhardt. He is chairman of the United Soybean Board. And this update brought to you by the Ohio Soybean Council and your soybean checkoff. Well, let's take a look now at that Thursday morning weather forecast brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com.
Cold air dominating the finish of the week here in Ohio. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Quick forecast update here as we move forward. I'm looking at a day today, Thursday, that features strong winds, strong north winds coming across the Great Lakes. So that's going to create lake effect cloud cover in, pretty much any area of the state. Lake effect precipitation should be relatively limited to close to the Lake Erie shoreline, particularly looking at northeastern Ohio once again as the winds are more northwesterly. The earlier lake effect that we saw this week and back into this past weekend was more of a westerly fetch across Lake Erie. This time around, I think it's more north and northwest, so this could put a little bit more into Ohio. We'll see. I think the lake effect winds bound a little bit quickly as we move from the overnight tonight into tomorrow, so we should see a mix of clouds and sunshine in most areas for your Friday, and then temperatures aren't as cold Saturday. Big moderation for Sunday, and that's ahead of our next weather system coming off the western Gulf of Mexico. That races right in to give us rain overnight Sunday night through Monday. 1/4 to 3/4 inch totals potentially over most of the state of Ohio, and then we have a second surge up that front with additional rain likely Monday night into Tuesday. There is a chance that rain can end as snow, but I think precipitation is going to be mostly done before the cold air gets here later Tuesday through Wednesday, Thursday of next week. I'm meteorologist Ryan Martin.
Thanks, Ryan. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more after this.
Since 1926, Nationwide has been rooted in agriculture. Founded as the Farm Bureau Mutual Automobile Insurance Company with a mission to protect farmers and their communities, we honor our legacy by offering solutions that evolve with the complex needs of today's farms. As the leading insurer of America's farms and trusted by 8 farm bureaus for 100 years and counting, Nationwide is on your side. Number 1 insurer based on 2023 direct written premium per AM Best. Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates, Columbus, Ohio.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Let's check in now with Matt Reese as he has an update from yesterday's Ohio No-Till Conference.
I'm at the Ohio No-Till Conference. I'm talking with Bill Lemko, and one of the topics today is irrigation using livestock manure that provides not only nutrient benefits but moisture benefits. And in a year like 2024, I would have to think that has some interesting implications. So, Bill, what are you seeing with development of this technology, and how is it being applied on Ohio farms?
Well, some of the latest technology out there is one of the systems known as 360 Rain. It is an autonomous irrigation system where we can apply not only water that normal people are used to with irrigation, but also supplementing that water and irrigation with livestock manure, as you said. So we've got two systems right now that were up and running this past year, utilizing dairy manure in Darke County and supplementing their irrigation with second and third stage manure out of their lagoons. With that being said, it's a great opportunity for these livestock producers to with their nutrient management to up that game, getting those nutrients on those crops, growing crops, in season instead of after the crops are off, and also utilize that throughout the year. For example, triticale in the spring. When you take the triticale off and you go to corn, then you can use the same type system and those manure and water on the growing crop there. And if there's anything left over that you've got to get rid of, you can still utilize that same system after the crop's off.
Have we seen some benefits in terms of the crop production, yield benefits and so forth?
Absolutely. I think, and most people will tell you that you can see a benefit of at least 50 bushel minimum by irrigation. The unique feature of combining that with nutrient management in the manure side is, basically the benefit of the nitrogen and some of the other nutrients that are in that manure to help feed that growing crop.
And along with that, I would think we'd see better utilization of those nutrients and therefore improvements in water quality and so forth as we look at the big picture. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. And looking at it, some of the new features that are coming out, for example, with this system, we are able to inject dry cover crops into that nutrient and water stream and seed cover crops as we go through the field. So some of the unique things that are out there.
It is very exciting and very interesting. I'm talking with Bill Lemko. He's with Precision Agri-Services. Thanks.
And thanks, Matt. Now let's join Dale Menyo with an industry update from the National Association of Farm Broadcasters Convention.
Joining me is Michael Torrey, and Michael is helping us out from the Voice of Milk booth. And I understand you're their expert on what's going on inside the Beltway. And at this point, that's kind of a moving target, isn't it?
Absolutely, it's a moving target. And agriculture goes through this every 2 years, but this is one of those every 4 years. So a lot of change happening. We're going to have new members on the House Committee, the Senate Ag Committee, the White House, USDA, and a whole new set of initiatives they want to pursue that will have an impact on your listeners.
A lot of folks are saying we're better off to try to get this farm bill finished in the lame duck, because if not, it could be 26. Any thoughts from you on that?
We are better off to get it done right now for a couple of reasons. One is the so-called complicated issue called baseline, meaning the money that agriculture has to work with now is very different than the money they may have to work with in the next year or two. The second part is we're going to be doing tax extenders next year, and that costs money. And anytime they're doing tax bills, they're looking for dollars, and sometimes they look at agriculture. So I think trying to wrap up what we have, get it tight, and then protect that would be great. But I don't think it's going to be possible.
Michael Torrey, my guest. Michael, thanks for the update.
Thanks for having me.
And to hear this full interview, check out our featured audio section at ohioagnet.com. In other agricultural headlines, net farm income in 2024 is forecast to be $6 billion less than last year at $140.7 billion. USDA's Economic Research Service recently reported the year-to-year decline is significantly softer, though, than the 35 $5.3 billion drop we saw from 2022 to 2023, the forecast isn't that much different from our period forecast released in September, they said, but somehow it feels a little more important as we near the end of the year to evaluate the current state of the farm economy as a starting point, considering what challenges and opportunities may lie ahead. That, according to Carrie Letowski, that's a senior economic research service economist who actually leads the farm income team. Now, net farm income aims to reflect the year the production occurred and accounts for changing grain inventories, depreciation, and other non-cash expenses. Net cash farm income measures net expenses and receipts in a calendar year. Net cash farm income is at $158.8 billion. That forecast to be $1.8 billion or 1.1% below the previous year. It's pegged at farmers selling more grain than they grew, reflecting that surplus inventory farmers carried from year to year. Both measures do remain above their 20-year average. Stay tuned. We'll be back to take a look at your markets after this.
Nearly 90% of farmers say that financial worries, constantly changing market conditions, and other uncontrollable variables take a toll on their mental well-being. Add in the weather and family dynamics. Well, it's a lot to handle alone. But did you know farmers and their families can receive free confidential services from licensed professionals? Support is available 24/7 to help with the challenges you face. Look for Farm Family Wellness Alliance under the Resources tab at farmfoundation.org. Take care of yourself. Your well-being matters.
Get the equipment and trucks you need at Ritchie Brothers' next Great Lakes Regional event on December 11th and 12th. This absolute unreserved auction will feature online bidding, and items are located in Columbus, Chicago, and Detroit. Choose from close to 5,000 items, including a wide selection of construction equipment, truck tractors, and more. Don't miss Ritchie Brothers' Great Lakes Regional event on December 11th and 12th. For more details, visit rbauction.com. Again, that's rbauction.com.
Sold them.
It's time now for your morning Louis Dreyfus grain analysis, brought to you by the Ohio Soybean Council and your soybean checkoff. Let's check in with Ryan Martin.
Grain markets weaker at midweek on a Wednesday as we finished out the day looking at South American weather, which is pretty decent. Actually, yesterday we saw more moisture starting to pop up in Argentina on certain computer models, and that just continues to give a lot of credence to thought process that the crop in South America is going to be large at this point. We also did not see much come on the demand side of things either. Wheat is reducing the bullish confidence in corn and soybeans. March beans did hold contract lows so far, but the ongoing weakening basis in Brazil is slowing U.S. export demand. U.S. and Chinese crush margins have dropped here in recent weeks. The Board of Trade declined on the Chinese soybean import demand shifting to South America. And remember, yesterday in that tit-for-tat Chinese ban retaliation thing on rare metal trade into the U.S., it was the background as trade politically festers into a bigger and bigger issue, not expected to go away when the new administration comes in after the turn of the year. We did have a flash reported sale yesterday, but it was only on soy oil. 30,000 metric tons of soy oil to South Korea. However, noteworthy because it's the first sale of soy oil to South Korea for the 24-25 crop year. It tells you where the price is relative to the attractiveness of world buyers. Weekly ethanol production, 315 million gallons, down 14 million week on week, but equal to last year. Stocks rose by about 6 million gallons. Now, ethanol stocks now build seasonally due to slower driving seasons, but it's too early to tell whether we have to adjust ethanol's corn demand up or down on the supply and demand report. Crude oil also turned lower yesterday on inventories falling 5 million barrels from the previous week. Really grasping at straws here on news headlines for the Wednesday. Maybe we see a little bit of a bump from a weekly export sales report today. I doubt it. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thanks, Ryan. Let's take a look now at your markets, brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. At the close yesterday, March corn was down 2 1/4 cents and May corn was down 2 1/2. January soybeans closed down 8 cents, while March beans were down 7 1/2, and March Kansas City wheat closed up 3/4 penny, while March Chicago wheat was up 3/4 penny, and March Minneapolis wheat was down 1/2 cent. Taking a look at the overnight trade, December corn is down 1 3/4 at $4.20 1/4 cent. Your January soybeans are trading up 2 3/4 at $9.86 1/2 cent, And wheat for December is currently unchanged at $5.38. The July 25 new crop is down a quarter penny at $5.62.5. At the close for livestock, December live cattle were down a dime at $188.37.5, and December lean hogs closed down 75 cents, $82.50. Class 3 milk for January was down 6 cents at $19.04. This is the Ohio AgNet.